Hi guys, I'm JVA. Welcome back to another video. This is officially part 2 of the 𝐏𝐀𝐑𝐓-𝐓𝐖𝐻 listener series. If you guys are enjoying, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for almost 9 likes on the other part. That video is like my first video to ever get past 4 or 3 or 2 likes. Glad you guys are enjoying this little series I put together. This is officially part 2. This one's a bit short. Maybe not too short, I don't know. But this is a bit short. I left you guys off on a cliffhanger. If you guys want me to continue, considering leaving a comment or a like, depending on how this does, is depending if you'll get a part 2. There is a cliffhanger. This one was really interesting, I have to say. Not that interesting, but it was really interesting. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm not going to talk too much, and I'm going to let you guys move on to the story. Alright guys, enjoy this video. JVA out. Well, not officially out, but you get the point. Okay, you guys know the drill. We stopped at chapter 15. We are now on 16. I don't know how far we're gonna get in this video, but enjoy. Ooh, oh no, it's tripping. Okay, chapter 16. I've made many mistakes in my life, murders and theft. But kicking Jeff in the balls with my knee definitely feels like the biggest mistake I've ever made. He was angry. As I ran in the forest, I could hear his yells. He was not happy in the slightest, and I actually feared for my life, so much that once I reached the mansion, I didn't stop. I continued running the halls and beams and doors. I'm gonna keep running until I successfully escape. There's no way anyone could stop me here. Surely not. I'm definitely not going back to have Jeff kill me. Although the deeper in the forest I went, the more I got lost. The fog and mist grew thicker and it became hard to see. Not only that, it felt like I was running in a complete circle. So much that I eventually came to a stop in the middle of trees. Standing there as I turned around and facing all directions, trying to find my way out of this maze. Listening to Jeff's angry yells in the distance, he sounded so far away yet so close. However, I froze when I instantly heard a rustling in the bushes, slowly turning to face the direction of the source. Jeff? I whispered, quietly hoping to hear a response. So I knew whether to run or not. If I couldn't run, I may not use my power on him, just keep me alive, even if that does reveal my secret skill. But as I watched, I was stunned, shocked, full of fear. What just walked out of the bush was not Jeff. It didn't even look like Jeff. It didn't even walk out into the open. It stalked like an animal stalking its prey. Oh, it's the, damn, what is that one called? What is that other creepypasta called? Skinwalker? I watched it instantly as it began to circle me. Its head is fixed in my direction, as if its stare lacked my figure. It walks on all fours, but had a human-like appearance. It was thin and skinny, able to see each bone curve and dip, every rib, every part of its spine strongly show. Its feet and fingers were a lot longer than a normal human's, and had to make them even longer. Huge claws like predators from each and every one. Its back was arched as it crawled around me, keeping its distance. It wore no clothing and had long, sharp fangs like teeth with big, burning white eyes. Its spine-chilling growl escapes around me as it constantly changes its direction of which it circles, as if it was trying to show off to me or distant me from watching it, losing my connection. Jeff's proof. After recovering from the painful kick between the legs, whoosh, okay. I choked on my words for a minute. Jeff's proof, by the way. After recovering from the painful kick between the legs, I was furious. First she knocks me out with a rock, then the bitch kicks me in the balls with her knee. She's fucking dead. Grabbing my knife, I found a rock and grind the blade harshly against it, sharpening my knife as much as possible. I wanted to be a clean cut when I slit her throat. Running back to the mansion, I barged through the door, storming in, only to find Masky and Painter sat at the kitchen dining table. Where the fuck is she? I yelled, storming over to the table, slamming my knife down as I pant harshly, sucking air in and out through my teeth. So, which creates a high hissing sound. Where's who? Painter asked, turning his head in my direction. His painted blood smile mask glaring at me blankly. The fucking maid. I snapped, splitting as I yelled, grinding my teeth together. As I began to grow impatient, she hasn't come back yet. What? I think Toby mentioned something about seeing a blur run past the window, deeper into the forest, but he said it was the rake! Fuck. Oh, that's what it's called. I begin to grow extremely anxious as the creature continues to surround me. By the way, this is reader proof. Every now and then, I would hear its bones cracking, causing me to flinch, which was bad. It seemed to be the creature causing it to serially make it fast, making it harder to keep up. My breathing kept increasing, causing me to pant and gasp for air. As I began to feel lightheaded, I was breathing quickly, but it felt like I was holding my breath. I tried to manipulate the creature, staring into its eyes, finding its soul to lock onto it, but no matter how hard I tried, it wouldn't work. It was as if the beast had no soul to control. This can't be happening. I whispered quietly to myself, thinking of a way to try to get out of this. However, as I constantly turn on the spot to keep my eyes on the thing, I suddenly stand on a twig, to which it snaps loudly, echoing throughout the trees. The monster freezes before charging and hissing and snarling, loudly pounding on me, pinning me to the ground. I tried to fight it off. All I could see it slashing its claws all over me, blood squirting everywhere. I could hear the sound of my bones snapping under its weight. I tried punching it, kicking it. I even tried biting on its neck, but nothing worked. It would just not let me go. Yes, okay, I had an advantage to this attack as I didn't feel any pain. That was also my disadvantage, but not feeling the pain of the slashes meant I couldn't tell how many it was marking on my body. The only way I could tell was my consciousness. If I grew dizzy and my vision was blurry, and then he was slicing me bad, and I was dying of blood loss. Sadly for me, that's exactly what was happening. My punches grew weaker, and my head began to feel heavy as the world around me became one big blur, and eventually black. The last thing I hear is a voice in the distance calling my name, my real name. How did you do that? A voice speaks from behind me. I stood in an empty classroom watching as all the kids run out, screaming for their lives, at the fact that I had just made our teacher head explode. Well, all kids except one. I turned to see a boy stood there looking down at the remains of the teacher brain. He wasn't showing any signs of fear. Instead, he seemed to be invigorated by it. Are you a witch? Did you cast a spell on him? The boy acts as walking over to the teacher's body, crouching down and examining the freshly remains and tears of its neck. I know it wasn't a spell. Witches don't exist, silly. I tried to throw him off the idea, in case he started to spread that I'm a witch. Kneeling down next to him, he had such a cute face. For some reason, he was always smiling, even when looking at the teacher's corpse. So, how did you do it? Wait, you brought the toad back to life too, right? Always smiling with every question he asked. He always seemed to be smiling. It started to rub off on me a little, causing me to smile even more and feel happy about the situation. Yeah, that was me. But Sir took his life again, and it's only fair that I take Sir's away. Yeah, the boy agreed with me. As we both stand to our feet, he puts his hands out to me, shaking and grabbing it tightly. He vigorously shook my hand down. I couldn't stop giggling at how much it made my body shake. I'm Name. Who are you? I never found out the boy's name from my class when I was 7. A teacher with the police ran in, grabbing us both and separating us, dragging me away from him, taking him to safety, away from me. You guys comment below who you think the kid was. I might have an idea. I groan as I slowly peel my eyes open. The sunbeams of light was so bright. It was practically blinding. Lifting my hands to face where I rubbed my eyes, trying to wake them up, but then suddenly I realized I was actually rubbing my eyes, meaning I wasn't wearing my mask. In a frantic manner, I quickly sat up looking for it, finding it on a small bedside table next to a lamp. Grabbing it, I quickly put it on, breathing a slight sigh of relief, but it was on my face. After a few seconds, I finally calmed down, looking around to see where I was, as I was clearly no longer in the woods. Luckily, I was alone in a room. but I was worried if it was that took my mask off in the first place. Or was it the one that brought me in here? I approached to be in a bedroom until it looked hardly used. Until now, of course. There was dust covering the walls and ceilings. The wardrobe was thick with dust, even the bedside table. With a print of where my mask had been, the only place with no dust was the floor on the bed I was sleeping in. It felt good to be sleeping in a bed. Sleeping on Jeff's floor was not comfortable at all. As I finally relaxed that I was not in anyone's room that might kill me, but being in here, I pulled off the blanket, swinging my legs over the edge of the bed, only to see a flash of light. Huh? Looking down at myself, I was completely covered in white bandages. I wore nothing except for a bra and underwear. There were at least 4 bandages on my left leg and 3 on my right. My arm felt like I had a tight bandage on all the way, from the waist down to the shoulder, surrounded by a hard metal brace with splints. Guess that I broke my left arm explains the sound of a bone snapping. My right arm had at least 8 bandages, one of which were just around my fingers. I had a large bandage around the entirety of my stomach and one around my neck. I was practically a living Egyptian mummy. I was just glad I couldn't feel any of it. The only question is, who did this to me? Did EJ do it? As if he was the only one who helped me with the holes in my leg when I first arrived, to which was now fully healed, or maybe it was Slender. I hope to God it was Slender, as he's the only one who's seen my face. Standing off the bed, I look around for clothes. Nothing to wear. But there was none on the bed, on the floor, in the wardrobe, nothing. Poking my head out the door to see if anyone was there to help, there was no one. The halls were completely empty and silent. I need to find some clothes. I remember storing away trousers in a cleaning closet, but I need to find it in order to find them. Only problem is, all of the doors are extremely the same, or exactly the same. I would have no chance. Sighing heavily, I stepped back into the room, closing the door, and returning around to see neatly folded clothes on the end of my bed. What? They weren't there before. Shaking my head in confusion, I make my way to the bed, grabbing the clothes and starting to change. Once I finish, I turn around only to see Slender to be there in front of the door, causing me to gasp and jump. Slender, I wasn't expecting... My apologies for making you jump, child. I see you're rested. Yeah, I am, but I have a question. Who bandaged me and took off my mask? I myself mended your wounds and removed your mask, but it was Jeff who brought you here after you were attacked. It was Jeff who saved me? Just before I blinked out, I could hear someone yell my name, my real name. I thought it might have been in my head, hearing Sucker's voice as a safe haven, but it was actually Jeff? Is it common decency to thank the ones who mended you? Where's your manners? Sorry. Thank you, Slender. Where's Jeff now? After he brought you here and informed me of your attack, he left. With that, Slender says no more and teleports out the room. I was thankful to that, but it was Slender who took off my mask? No one else? But why was Jeff the one to save me? After Slender had left, I decided I wanted to go back to my parents' house. But I also wanted to keep this room for my own. Opening the bedroom, I step out and close it behind me. I just needed some way to remember this room. And the door. Then I remembered I haven't treated my nails yet since leaving the hospital, so they should be long, perhaps sharp, enough to navigate scratches on the door. However, as I looked down to my hands, my nails had been cut and shortened. My guess was that Slender done it when he treated me. Sighing, I lower my head, only to lock my gaze on my belt. The clothes on the bed weren't maid clothes. They were everyday clothes, jeans and a shirt. But luckily the jeans had a belt, so I remove it and attach it on the door handle, marking the room as I know where to find it again. Just to look for any doors with the belt on the handle. Making my way down the hall, it was actually pretty easy to find a kitchen, so it should be pretty easy to find the room again. It was strange. The halls were completely empty, so was the kitchen, dining room. Where was everyone? Well, to be honest, I didn't care where they were. As long as they were away from me, I don't care. Reaching the front door that leads into the forest, I take a deep breath and I reach for the handle. My heart was pounding in my throat. I guess it was the remaining fear from that thing that attacked me. Come on, you got this. 1, 2, 3. After counting down, I swing open the door and step out into the forest, squinting my eyes as I do, so allowing the door to slowly close shut behind me. I peek around, my eyes carefully, but a sigh with relief, relaxing completely. There was no beast or monster waiting in front of me, ready to devour me, smelling itself. I set off for home. I didn't know why, I just felt the need to go back, like it was calling me back home. My parents had removed all photos of me from the sitting room. I guess I wanted to see if it was the same for the whole house, although it probably wouldn't be a good idea to use the front door or window again, so it's soon to be a crime scene. It didn't take long for me to reach my parents' house. Running down the back entrance, I could see an open window. Only problem was, I needed to climb to get to it. It wasn't in the bathroom floor. Looking around for something to use, I noticed vines growing all the way up towards the window, being held in shape by some sort of wooden frame support. So I decided to climb it, as easy as climbing a ladder would be. But once at the top, I realized something with this window to my old room. I take a deep breath. I climbed back inside. I was shocked. Nothing had changed. It looked exactly how I left it all those years ago. My bed, my toys, my clothes, all stuff haven't been moved an inch. But then I noticed something, well, 2 things. 1, the bed light was on. 2, my old diary from where I was little was open on the desk, open to a certain days. My last entry of the day I killed my teacher. Picking up, I began to read what I had written, smiling a little at how innocent I sound, even though I had just committed an act of murder to a school teacher. I knew I recognized your name. Chapter 19. I knew I recognized your name. It didn't click at first, but I slowly realized. A voice spoke out of the blue, scaring the hell out of me, causing me to jump. I knew it was weird that the light was on, but it didn't click that someone was actually in the room with me. Turning in the direction of the voice, I see a figure with pitch black hair, standing with their back to me, as they stood in front of me on my bedside table, turning to the side as they held a picture frame in their hand. Even though they stood to the side, I could tell one half of their face. I knew exactly who it was. By the very long smile, it was Jeff. But what did he mean he recognized my name? I didn't recognize his. This was the day it happened. I remember your closing. That was one of the best days of my life, witnessing what you've done. I watched as he turns his face to me properly. His eyes locked on a frame. The way just about it was a picture of me and my father. But I was confused. What is he remembering? My name? My clothes? What does it have to do with anything? This was the day you killed our teacher. He states bluntly, lifting his head and locking his eyes on me. Turning the frame around to see me face to face, he was right. That picture was taken the day I killed my teacher, the morning before I left for school. My mom got it painted as soon as she took it. I took a step back in shock, trying to settle my mind. How on earth does Jeff know who it is? How do you know about that? Did you see it in the news in the newspaper? How? I watched as he looked at me with a temporary stone expression before bursting out laughing and placing it down. Newspapers? At that age? Don't be pathetic. I saw you kill him, dumbass. I was the one kid that didn't run away. You told me your name. We were separated before I could tell you mine. He states as if it was pointing out the obvious, making his way towards me, dangerously moving close to my face, forcing me to move back away from him. I was completely lost for words. All those years ago, that sweet boy with the cute smile and beautiful face. This is him now? All that time while I was in the mental hospital, if it wasn't talking to Sakura's spirit, I was thinking that little boy who wasn't afraid of me all the time. I've been thinking of Jeff? No, you can't be that boy. That kid was so happy and perky and always smiling. I meant what I said, but in a different way. Instantly regretted it. Jeff's face didn't look happy. I knew it had pissed him off. Happy? Always smiling? Do I look happy to you? Does it look like I'm always fucking smiling? He yells, grabbing my throat and slamming my back against the wardrobe. I couldn't help but shriek at the sudden action. I know what you are now. That explains the teacher. Explains your parents, who also remains dead downstairs. He paused, increasing his grip around my neck as he leans closer. His face was only inches away from my mask. I could see his eyes look straight into the black holes in my mask and halting to find my hitting eyes. You're a fucking freak. That was it. I've had enough. My entire life I've been called a freak or a monster. No more. I won't be called names. I like my ability. In fact, I fucking love it. I embrace it, and I'll do it for the rest of my life. If it means I get to destroy or negative growing, I lunge my fist up into Jeff's throat. He instantly gasps and wheezes for air, backing away and clenching his neck. I take my opportunity to jump on him and pin him down. I wanted to be up close and personal for his death, but eventually he catches his breath and begins to fight back, trying to wrestle me off of him, so I had to act fast. Staring deep into his eyes, I lock onto whichever part of his dead soul was left, forcing him to kill himself. He groans as his hand shakingly reaches into his pocket, grabbing his knife and lifting it to his throat. You could see the trembling stain and fight he was putting up to stop himself. His veins were practically popping out of his head. However, he managed to overcome me, throwing his knife to the side out of his pocket, gasping for air harshly and angrily. So there was only one thing to do. His hands clamp around my neck and begin to squeeze, but my eyes remained focused as I make the blood in his brain begin to boil. He whines in agony as blood dribbles from his nose. But he had one last energy burst in him. One hand removes from around my neck, grabbing my mask and ripping it off my face. I scream instantly, jumping off of him, running for the window. But he was faster than me, grabbing my arm and pulling me back. No, get off me, get off me, get off me right now! I yell as I hide my face away from him, as much as possible, but his grip on my arm slowly tightens. Show me your face, he orders before dropping my mask to the floor next to his knife, so neither of us could reach it. What was I gonna do? I was not ready to show him my face, but how was I gonna get out of this? Show me my face. You owe me this. I owe you nothing. I scream, tears falling down my face, dripping to the floor. As I listen to his footsteps and he moves to stand beside me, still holding my arm. Luckily, he was standing to my right side, so he couldn't see the left side of my face. For years, I was wondering if I'll ever see that girl again who killed my school teacher. He admits, loosening the grip on my arm just a little. It felt weird to think that we both had been thinking of each other over the years. Every time I went on a mission to kill someone, it was if they were a female. I'll always ask their first name to check if it wasn't you. Why would he check if it wasn't me? Surely he'll be checking to see if it was me, unless he wanted to make sure it wasn't me, so that he could kill them. I don't know. Whine in. Let me see your face. I could hear him say my name with such a tone. It felt weird, but I couldn't tell it was a good weird or a bad weird. But I definitely could tell it was Jeff who called my name while I was being attacked. Taking a deep breath, I faced to turn him. I turned to face him. Jesus. Alright guys, Jeff proof. Wynan takes a deep breath, breathing out as much as possible to calm herself down, before she slowly turns around to face me. All I could describe was my reaction. Well, I don't know. I didn't say a word. I couldn't tell. For the first time in a long time, I was speechless. I finally understood why she wore the mask. I hated her for wearing it, but she was beautiful. The right side of her face was normal, like any other person's face would be, like smooth. Her skin tone was beautiful and bright, and her eyes were just light, perky, lips and fluttering lashes. But her left side, which had her eye, was a colorless dual black-gray, not seeming to focus on me or anything. The white of her eye was severely bloodshot and looked murderly scarred. The skin around her eye, traveling down to the left side of her face, was tight and scarred, as if it was to burn. I felt so angry that she was hiding herself behind a mask. She was truly beautiful, more than me. That's why you ran into me in the forest. That's why your reaction was slow when I threw the knife at the wardrobe. I was always on your left side, your left eye, you're blind. She interrupts me, lowering her head, her soft hair falling and shading behind her face. What happened to you? She takes yet another deep breath, lifting her head a tear sliding down her cheek, dripping from her chin and dropping to the floor, silently slashing near her foot. My parents, the hospitals, the doctors, the nurses, they did this to me. I need to get my revenge, Jeff, please. Please let me do this and don't try to stop me. She speaks between sobs and cries, her eyes squinting shut each time she does. But I don't answer. What she said was right away. Instead, I tell her to close both her eyes as I walk away and grab something, making my way back to her. Raising my hand to cover her right eye. Wynan, open your left eye. What do I have in my hand? I press my hand closely on her right eye as I watch as she opens her left. I could tell her right eye was still closed as her eyelashes didn't move or flinch. I don't know why. I looked to my free hand to see the picture frame of Wynan as a child. Raising it so it was directly in front of her, left eye twitches away from touching her. I could ask her, what is in my hand? I don't know, Jeff. All I can see is darkness, emptiness, nothing. I sigh. I lower both my hands, placing down the frame, allowing her to open her right eye so she can see. I'm not going to stop you getting your revenge. She smiles weakly, her brows coming together as she looks like she's about to cry joy and relief. Really, but you can't stop me from helping you. Her face drops. I could tell she wasn't too happy about that. I understand that she wants to take this revenge along, but taking down an entire hospital is going to be tricky, and she'll need help. She may be strong with her power, but physically and emotionally, she's weak. If anything were to happen, I doubt she'd be able to defend herself. I doubt that highly. Not him doubting our power. Anyways, chapter 21, guys. We're officially on chapter 21. Reader's proof. I was just furious. The fact that Lord, I was just furious. The fact that Jeff thinks he could just join in and help with my revenge, I don't think so. This is and will be my revenge. If someone helps, it won't be the same. I won't be getting my own back to them because of everything they did. It would just be a simple murder spree. But with Jeff tagging along, no, I won't allow that. I won't allow it. No, you're not helping me. This is something I have to do myself. Jeff rolls his eyes, walking away and grabbing his knife that laid next to my mask, stuffing it in his pocket, but then he leaves my mask to continue lying on the bedroom floor. You don't have a choice. You need to let me help you, kill them, or you don't get to at all. You can't just do that. That's not your decision to make. He growls, storming back over to me, grabbing his knife and quickly forcing it harshly against my neck, pinning me to the wall. You have powers, Wynan, but you're weak. Your body's weak. You won't manage alone. He sighs, lowering his knife back to his pocket and stepping away. You'll be dead before you even get the chance. I didn't have to say, he did have a point. I never really had any training to strengthen myself. So strength otherwise, I'm pretty weak and could be easily overpowered. Jeff has already proven that. Taking a deep breath in before exhaling, I open my mouth to speak, but suddenly freeze. My eyes shooting out in the direction of the door, Jeff gives me a confused glance, but soon turns around to see that had caught my attention. He soon hears it too, footsteps making their way towards this room. We didn't react fast enough. The door opens and a policeman steps in. His expression was normal, but once he saw us, he instantly went in attack mode. After all, there was a crime scene downstairs. Officers, in here! He calls down to the others. Jeff and I make a break for it. Rushing to the window, Jeff leaps out and grabs the wooden frame behind me, hidden behind the vines, waiting for me to follow. But I realize I had forgotten something. My mask! Forget it. You don't need it, Jeff orders. But I wasn't leaving without it. The policeman was he was very well built. built with muscle, although he looked like he would be quite slow rushing back. I grabbed my mask, ducking under the swing of his arm, quickly making my way back to the window, only to have my hair yanked, dragging me back. "Why, Nan, you fucking idiot!" Jeff yells as he jumps in the room. With all the strength I could, I pry myself from the officer's grasp, turning to face him and locking eyes with him. As my hands clamp down on the side of his head, squeezing tightly, I glare deep into his soul, practically meeting his brain as blood gushes from his eyes, ears, and nose. He screams of agony, ultimate all his other officers. They come barging in, but Jeff soon makes a quick word of them with his knife, but I focus on the one in front of me, dragging out his death and pain for as long as possible. His skin surrounding his face began to become sweaty, dripping and dripping, but eventually his own skin began to melt off his skull, like melting wax down with a candle. Within minutes, there was nothing left but an empty skull attached to a lifeless body, as it falls to my feet. Placing my mask over my face, Jeff grabs my hand and yanks me in his direction. "Come on!" He lets go, climbing down the frame and making a run for it. I jump out of the window, having a moment of forgetfulness in my mind. I thought we were downstairs, so the window was only inches off the ground, but that wasn't the case. I was very high, meters upon meters. My body plumps to the floor and I land on my legs, hearing a loud snap and crunch as I fall, catching my breath and waiting for the dizziness to fade. I glance down at my legs only to see the bone piercing through the skin caused by an open fracture. Jeff runs over and grabs my ankle instantly, placing a hand below the puncturing bone, soaking blood with his hand. As it pours from the wound and teared ripped flesh open ruthlessly. "We need to push it back in." I gave him a nod, removing the metal brace from my arm, preparing it to be used for my leg. I watch with interest as Jeff yanks on my ankle, causing my bone to jerk down as his hand forces the fractured bone back into place. A cringe-worthy crunch and splatter of blood fills the air. Shaking my head and squinting my eyes to rid the sound from my mind, I hand Jeff the brace, to which he sets it to work placing it around my leg, helping me to my feet, making our way back to the mansion. It doesn't take long, as the mansion usually is when people are in pain with broken limbs. Time seemed to drag on forever. But when you can't feel the pain, time is normal, which besides, I like. In their mind and would enjoy the feeling of pain. Well, I mean, unless someone is a masochist. But hey, who am I to judge? People and their sexual desires are arousals. Anyways, we got back. Jeff asked EJ to help fix me up, to which EJ did willingly help me. Now, when I say I asked Jeff exactly what he mean, he yelled and snapped and threatened and ordered until he got what he wanted. And when I say EJ willingly helped, what I exactly mean is that he refused, even after having a knife to his body several times, until he eventually grew bored and annoyed to Jeff's nagging. Although it's been a simple couple of days since Jeff and I haven't spoken about wanting to get revenge. In fact, we haven't spoken at all. 5 days, in fact. Must have been past and we haven't said a word to each other. I really don't know why. There's some kind of deep deprived down talk. A size to me that wants to talk again. Every time I see him, I go or try to talk to him, but he just ignores me. Walking away. I don't know why though. He always seems to be thinking. Just thinking. Never talking. As if I see him in a room, but he doesn't see me. The room can be full or completely empty. It doesn't matter. He's always doing the same thing. His knife in his hands as he motions his blade with a distant stare, as if to be in his own world. I stand there in the kitchen preparing dinner as he sat at the dinner table, not saying a word. Staring into space, Sally runs over to him, grabbing his attention, as if he didn't even hear her. Sally's proof. "Today was the day Jeff said he would take me out, hunting in the woods with him. I was going to go with EJ, but he decided he didn't want to go, so Jeff promised me he would take me. I couldn't hold back my excitement. It was going to be so much fun. Skipping cheerfully down the hallway, I couldn't even help but smile wildly and giggle. How about excited I was? What's the smile, lass? A voice spoke beside me, followed by a gentle twinkle of gels. Candy pop! I squealed as I wrapped my arms around his waist, his hand patting my soft hair. What's got ye happy? he asks, pushing me back as I unravel my arms, grinning as he leans back against the wall, folding his arms. Jeffy's gonna take me hunting with him. Candy Pop raises an eyebrow, standing there and uncrossing his arms. Oh, is he? Well, be careful, you hear? He asks us. Crouching down, looking at me in the eye, I nod quickly before laughing and rushing off, leaving Candy Pop in the hall. As I make my way to the kitchen, looking around, I didn't spot Jeff straight away, which causes my smile to drop a little, but I soon brighten up as I find him at the dinner table. Rushing over to him, I notice the maid in the kitchen, watching Jeff. How dare she look at my Jeffy? Jeff, are you ready? I giggle as I bounce off the spot next to him. He doesn't answer. He just sits there, slouching as he strokes his knife, while staring at it. Jeff! Uncle Jeff! I call loudly, as I grab his arm, shaking it back and forth to get his attention. Not now, Sally, he mumbles quietly, not taking his eyes off his knife. But Jeff, you said you'd take me hunting. I said not now, Sally, he yells as he quickly stands up out of his seat, glaring down angrily at me, as his arm stretches out with his fingers pointing towards the hallway, wanting me to leave. I can't help but cry, running away as tears stream from my eyes. Oh, poor Sally. Also, why did she say my Jeff? That's that I'm not gonna lie or hold you, that's kind of concerning. Because Sally sees Jeff as an uncle. At least my ears, she sees Jeff as an uncle. I hope in others she sees Jeff as an uncle, because she said my Jeff, he caught me off guard. Very much caught me off guard. Kind of concerning. Sorry guys for the distant voice switches. I wanted to switch up the voices a little bit. I didn't want to talk in Sally's voice forever. I'm sorry if you guys cringe a little bit. That's just going to be my voice for Sally since she's a kid. Chapter 23. White proof. I watch as Sally runs away with her face in her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. All the poor girl wanted was some attention. Was that necessary? I snap at Jeff, storming out of the room, following Sally's distant cries as I try to find her to make her feel better. Luckily, her room wasn't far away, so it didn't take long to catch up to her. Slowly peering into her room from the hallway that she left open, I spot her as she sits on her bed with her back leaning against a wall, her knees bent and pulled towards her chest, as she lays her head down, folded arms that rested on her knees. Slowly stepping into her room, I see her. Sally, sweetheart, are you okay? She doesn't answer me. However, she just continues to cry, constantly sniffing her nose as she sobs loudly. Shuffling forward a little, I try to speak to her again. Sally, I'm sure Jeff didn't mean... This is your fault, she mumbles quietly. I think I may have heard what she said, but I wasn't entirely sure. Sorry, what do you... This is your fault, she screams, jumping up suddenly on her bed to, however, tower over me, causing me to quickly stand onto my own feet. I back away as I watch as she stands there. Her breathing becomes very angry and seems full of rage. Her tears begin to turn to a blood red as it steams down her face. All around her seems to go dark, like shadows were surrounding her body. Before I can react, she suddenly charges and pounces on me, causing me to fall to the ground. She sat on my chest, violently thrusting and pushing her fist against my chest until she suddenly grabs my mask, throwing it to the wall, instantly pushing her off before she could see my face. I run to my mask, only to see it's broken. It's all your fault Jeff is like this. I hate you. You ruined everything. Sally, that's enough. A voice calls out. I didn't turn around. I couldn't, however. And Sally see my face, so I couldn't stand there. Sally, let's go see Ben in my TV room. I listen as Sally storms out of the room. Sighing deeply, I crouch down and pick up my broken mask. Is it still seeable? I knew that voice now. It was Jeff. Taking a deep breath, I turn around as he walks over to me. The mask had snapped into 3 pieces, perfectly in half, but one half split into 2. Luckily, it was the right side that split into 2. Jeff just stood there looking down and looked at it. The left was all intact. Maybe I could just wear the left side, although I may need to take a different strap. Jeff sighs, shaking his head as he takes the 2 small pieces from the right side of the mask. Or you could just not wear it at all. You know I can't do that. Besides, you don't get an opinion after ignoring me for days. I only just look at him. Ignoring you? You basically ignored me. Yeah, whatever. I snap angrily, holding the half mask to my face as I leave Jeff alone and head to my room to fix what was left of my mask. Damn, usually Sally's an angel. I mean, I guess she's not completely an angel, but you get the point. And she doesn't really attack humans, so that's also surprising. But I guess in this, she's a kid. I mean, kids do lash out. I reached my room, slamming my door shut and storming over to the bedside table, seeing if there was anything in the drawer, anything at all I could use as a strap for my mask, but there was nothing. I searched the entire room, didn't find a thing. Groaning, I slumped down on the bed, lying back, as I tossed my half mask to the floor to wish it falls near the door. Why couldn't anything ever go right? I sighed, closing my eyes, laying down as a small tear dribbled down my cheek, dripping into the bed. Just proof. You know, I can't do that. Besides, you've been getting an opinion after ignoring me for days. Name snaps. Yeah, guys, it was Jeff, but I had to, flip it around. Okay. I didn't want to read back over it. That was horrible, but we're going to ignore that. Before storming out of the room, leaving me alone, I was furious. How dare she speak to me in such a way? Especially after she put me through. How dare she? I'll kill this son of a bitch. Leaving Sally's room, I follow Lionel's distant footsteps and movements, trying my best not to get distracted by someone else. Finally reaching her room, I could hear her rummaging about it before she stops. I was about to barge in, but I paused, slowly removing my hand from the door handle, sighing deeply. What had gone into me? I feel like I've gone soft. No, that's impossible. I couldn't have gone soft. No, it's not true. I haven't gone soft. I'll fucking prove it. Lifting my leg, I forced my right foot into the door, causing the wood around the lock to snap and break away. The door swung open, storming in. I hurried right over to Wynan, who sat shocked on her bed, breathing quietly. Without thinking twice, I grabbed her throat and pushed her back against the bed, pinning her down, my knees on either side of her waist. I glanced angrily at her stunned face with wide eyes as she tries to process what was happening. I couldn't get over it. The fact that she was staring at me with both eyes. Both of them. 2 eyes. But she could only see me through one. Just one. I couldn't stand it. How dare she make me feel sorry for her? I should just fucking kill you and get it over with, shouldn't I? I growl, tightening my grip around her throat, to which she responds by raising her eyebrows and clamping her hands around my wrist. Jeff, what are you talking about? Don't say my fucking name. Every time you talk, I can't get your stupid voice out of my fucking head. So much anger, so much hatred. I hated her, but I hated myself for hating her. Couldn't bring myself to say it. I like her. But then I wouldn't be lying if I said I didn't hate the fact that you can't feel pain. I want to feel your skin bruise as I squeeze your throat tighter and tighter. How am I meant to kill you if I don't have the pleasure of hearing your screams? I don't understand. She has no escape, and she knows I always carry a knife. Yet, she's not putting up a fight, like she did in the woods. Why isn't she trying to get away? Why aren't you fighting? Why aren't you resisting? I snarl, lifting her by her neck, before slamming her back down against the bed, to which she gasps at my action, but still makes no effort to get me off of her. Or better yet, she makes no effort to try and kill me. These last few days, all I've been doing was being lost in thought, thinking of Wynan's power, our class, as kids, the teacher, her eyes, her blindness, her just thinking about her. I despise you. You have no idea what you've done, what you caused. Jeff, I can help. I don't want your fucking help. I yell, shaking her violently before letting go and standing off for her, making my way to the door, but she follows to grab my shoulder, to which I instantly react, spinning around, grabbing her hand and pinning her against a wall. Holding her there tightly, her eyes shot from left to right, as she looks at both of my eyes, her blind eye following the same direction as her seeing her eye. Useless and pathetic. British proof. Guys, he's falling in love, guys. Yup. Our best boy is falling in love and he cannot. He is hiding the fact that he's in love and he won't admit to it. Reader's proof. I couldn't understand why I've gotten so angry and full of hate all of a sudden. For the past few days, he's been ignoring me. So why is it now that he's full of anger and rage? I try looking deep into his eyes, trying to understand what he's feeling or trying to feel. Or try not to feel. Doing that. Doing what? Stop doing that. He yells, removing one hand from my throat, forcing it against my face, covering my eyes, leaving me in total blackness. I was interrupted by not his other hand, or him speaking, or yelling. Nothing like that. I couldn't tell what it was. It felt warm and comforting, but I didn't want to stop whatever it was. Although, it doesn't take long for me to click what was happening. Jeff pushes me harder against the wall as he forces himself closer. As he does, the presence that interrupted me became closer and harder. I suddenly realized he was kissing me. Alright guys, we're gonna stop there. I'm gonna leave you on a goddamn cliffhanger. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I feel so damn evil for doing this. But you're gonna figure out what happens next fucking episode if you guys ask. And if any of you are new, hi, welcome again. I'm JVA. I love to torture you guys by making you guys wait for the next fucking part. I hope you and guys enjoyed this silly series and enjoyed it so far. It was very interesting. I loved it. It was great. It's not done. We have more to go. But, again, if you want to see part 3, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me how you feel about these chapters. Also, tell me how you feel about this book. Do you guys want another? Leave some adjustments. Thank you for almost 9 likes on the other video and 91 viewers. That's almost my highest video besides my Sally Face videos. So again, I hope you guys have a good weekend, good weekday, whatever the hell you're doing. I'm JVA. I'm signing out, and maybe, just maybe, I'll see you next episode to find out what happened. Why did Jeff kiss YN? Does he not want to feel the way he's feeling? Does he actually love her? What's going to happen? Is she going to push him away? Is she going to keep kissing him? What's going to happen? Yeah, who knows? I'll see you next time on Dragon Ball Z. I'm joking. I'm JVA, and I'm out. Mwah. Love you guys.